Hello everyone, my name is Madelyn Anderson and I'm a junior studying data science and economics here at Creighton University. As a part of the Clare Luce scholarship program, I was very fortunate to be able to work on cyber flash mob research with Dr. Al-Khatib in the Creighton Computer Science Department. So I'd love to share with you guys a little bit about what I've learned over the past year and what we plan on doing going forward. So we'll go ahead and share my poster. So here is my research poster, and I'll kind of go into a little bit of a summary about what flash mobs are and just kind of walk you through our research process. So to go into a little bit of background, flash mobs are defined as large public gatherings in which groups of individuals perform an action seemingly at random, followed by a quick dispersion as if the event never occurred. So nowadays, these kind of events are being coordinated through social cyber networks. Specifically, we have been looking at instances of these occurrences across Twitter platforms, and eventually these Twitter interactions are being extradited to larger platforms and events in the real world. So these flash mobs can be harmless in nature when it comes to, someone gathering to do a quick dance for entertainment, or if we can see here in an example, the Spider-Verse versus Sinister Six meetup. This is an example of an event that we collected in our database with different tweets that showed people planning to meet and just kind of display their interest in the Spider-Verse versus Sinister. So that was an example of a benign instance of a flash mob that we found in our database, but flash mobs can also be deviant in nature when it comes to collective groups coming together to hack a website, or different ISIS groups or propagandists using Twitter to collectively agree on an event or a meeting place or anything like that through social cyber networks. So at its core, this research is really understanding or attempting to understand the role of social media in coordinating these large-scale events, especially among unrelated actors, and how collective action is different or the same over social networks, and how these people can get individuals involved in the real world. So going into a little bit about how we collected our data and just my personal involvement. So this summer I was in charge of researching various flash mobs through literature reviews and in aiding in writing programs, utilizing the Perspective API, and helping with the implementation of the overall data repository. So the end goal of this research is implementing a data repository that has information about these cyber flash mobs and really drawing conclusions about what it takes with different bot scores, different hashtags, and the toxicity of these events. So after the literature review, we went through different APIs to collect data with the keywords that we found in these literature reviews. So we used the Twitter archiving Google Sheets to extract tweets from Twitter using these keywords. So we can see here in our overall system architecture that, we started with these keyword identifications, and we queried that data from Twitter using the Twitter archiving Google Sheets. And this data in CSV format was fed into Python and a spreadsheet processor, which eventually we used to dump the data into our overall database in SQL. So alongside just collecting the information, we also processed the tweets to gain access to their toxicity scores using the Perspective API. This API takes in information and calculates an overall toxicity score, which ranges from 0 to 1, which we multiplied by 100 to show as a percentage format. So this shows the percentage of users that would agree that this is a toxic tweet. So we can see here that the average toxicity score of a tweet in our database is 19.98%. So this means that readers would interpret tweets as toxic 19.98% of the time. And this just has to do with rhetoric and language and the overall meaning of a tweet that makes it appear to be toxic. Another thing that we looked into was the Botometer API, which calculated the likelihood that a Twitter user was actually an automated bot, so a non-human user, tweeting and spreading information that way. So the overall bot score of our database was only at 4.85%. So this is also a pretty low number for our repository with over 1.2 million tweets. So we can see that all of these different processing Python scripts eventually fed into the database, which we are compiling into the Cyber Flash Mob Analyzer and into the website format for ease of access to other researchers and potentially law enforcement in the future. So yeah, going forward from that, we are continuing to add to our database, which currently holds over 1.2 million tweets from 897,000 different users. And these tweets contain 50,000 URLs and almost 30,000 hashtags. So there's a lot of information to analyze going forward, and I have been using a SQL database to go through and collect ideas on different trends and things like that. So specifically with different hashtags and URLs and seeing where the URLs are coming from, where they're linking to, and something that we're really looking into going forward is how these trends change before and after specific flash mob events. So we would like to see, how many tweets are coming out before the event, when the event occurs, and then after the event, and seeing how these things are changing, in addition to how the percentage of, retweets or mentions changes as these events occur. So these are all different trends that we are hoping to look into going forward with our research that will continue throughout 2021. And yeah, so there's a lot to do going forward with analyzing the information that we already have. So here's our system architecture one more time and the example of the Spider-Verse meetup. And now I'll go ahead and actually take you through our website. So Dr. Al-Khatib developed this using HTML, and eventually we're going to have access to the interface sourced from here. So it kind of shows just a little intro to what our research is all about. It gives a little summary about what flash mobs are, what's a deviant flash mob, what's an online deviant group, and there's some word cloud visualizations here that I helped create this summer. There's a list of publications regarding cyber flash mob that Dr. Al-Khatib has published, and some statistics about the current holdings of our data repository, and then just a summary of the team of Dr. Al-Khatib and I. So yeah, that's what the interface looks like so far, and eventually we are hoping to continue with manuscript writing, and we are going to be submitting a paper to the 2021 International Conference on Social Computing, Behavioral/Cultural Modeling, and Prediction and Behavior Representation in Modeling and Simulation. So this is the SBP BRIMS 2021 conference. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to learn more about social network analysis and really how to use Python and SQL and all these different APIs together to kind of come to an overall conclusion about collective action and social cyber networks. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing your questions on March 2nd. Thank you.